Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture. Today, we are going over celebrity legal news. Y'all, if the phrase blood from a turnip wasn't, if that phrase didn't mean anything right now, y'all, Brian McKnight is suing Jacquelyn Wright. Now, baby, you can't get blood from a turnip, but we'll definitely see what he's talking about after this. This is the first time I've gone live. Hey, it's the first time I'm going live from Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. And this is going to be the first time that I've gone live from TikTok. So today, what we're covering today, if you want to see the documents that I have, please come to my YouTube page, which is Pam Entertainment TV. But if you just want to listen over here at TikTok, that's fine. Hello, everybody that has joined. We're going to be going over the lawsuit from Brian McKnight, who is suing Jacquelyn Wright. Let's go over this TMZ article to see what he's doing. And as I have you all in here, y'all please hit that like button and subscribe. And once you subscribe, you'll be open to a plethora of movies and television shows that I have reviewed. Also, my celebrity legal news page, and that's what we're doing right now. Ooh, child. Let's get to this. Let me share my post over here. So this is an article from TMZ, and it says here, let me make sure everybody can see that over here. So it says here, Brian McKnight is suing Jacquelyn Wright. He claims that he didn't abuse his ex-wife or looks like hire prostitute. So let's see what TMZ is going. I do have a copy of the lawsuit, and shout out to Document Things on X, because that's where I first initially saw this document. So let's continue. Now, if you're not familiar with who these people are, Brian McKnight and Jacquelyn Wright are R&B singers. They were very popular in the late 90s, early 2000s. If you're Jacquelyn Wright name should be more familiar, because if you've been listening to her talk about Jay-Z, any type of mess that's gone on in the business in regards to Puffy, any and all those things like that, Jacquelyn seems to have her finger in her nose in a lot of that. Now, I have always said in regards to Jacquelyn Wright, a broken clock is right twice a day. She may have some information, but no one seems to be ever asking the questions, how do you know all of this stuff that you claim, that you say that you know, if you weren't there? That's just a question that I have. I don't understand how anybody says that they have any information or all of this insider information if you were not there, if you were not in some ways. I'm not saying that you were deep in it, but it always seems to boggle my mind anytime anything happened to any when we were talking about Diddy's case, which starts next week, y'all. And with this particular case that happened with Tony Busby and Jay-Z, she seemed to have all this quote unquote inside information. But when anytime anybody pressed her, then it was like, oh, she scurries off into the night. But let's continue to see why Brian McKnight is suing her. Brian McKnight says, and I'm reading part of this TMZ article, and then we're going to jump right into the lawsuit. I think it is about 10, 15 pages. So that's not long. It'll take us about 45 minutes to knock those things out. So let's continue. It says, Brian McKnight says Jacquelyn Wright is talking crazy when she claims he abused his ex-wife and some prostitutes. So now he's suing her for defamation over it. The singer just filed a lawsuit against Jacquelyn for a bunch of things she's been saying about him online, which he says are blatant lies. According to the lawsuit, he claims that Jaguar went on social media and alleged he was hiring prostitutes and physically abusing them during sex encounters. He says that never happened. Let me see. Brian claims that Jaguar also alleged that he was an abusive husband to his ex-wife, Julie, who Jaguar claims is her cousin. Interesting. Interesting. He said Brian says he never abused his wife, and he had no idea that Jaguar was related to his ex-wife. All right. So let's see what they're talking about. Let's see what this lawsuit looks like. All right. And we'll get to reading it. Because this doesn't make too much sense to me. And I guess this lawsuit being filed because I don't see Jaguar Wright having any money that he's going to be able to claim. And let me see. I don't see is he asking for this to be a jury trial? Yeah, looks like he is. I don't see how much he's going to get. I think that this lawsuit is in an effort for Brian McKnight to get Jaguar Wright to keep his name out her mouth. I think that this what it is. That's what this is. Because I just do not see him getting any kind of monetary anything monetary from her. So it says here in the United States District Court for the District of Nevada, Brian McKnight plaintiff versus Jacquelyn Wright. I guess that's her legal government name. So here he says plaintiff Brian McKnight, in support of his complaint against defendant Jacquelyn Wright, also known as Jaguar Wright, hereby states the following. This defamation act arises from numerous videos posted on various social media platforms by Ms. Wright under the name Jaguar Wright. In these videos, Ms. Wright claims that she is the cousin of Brian McKnight's ex-wife, Miss Julie McKnight. Additionally, Ms. Wright made statements that Mr. McKnight had been abusive not only to prostitutes, but to his ex-wife, Julie McKnight. She claims that prostitute he had beaten up that my cousin caught him with just before that, and how he beat her up for catching him with that chick. Okay, these are quotes that they're using because I was about to say I don't know how they write this awful in a pleading. He was a piece of a shit father, and he was even worse husband. Now, if you're not familiar with Brian McKnight, because I think it happened pretty much last year or the year before or anything like that, you had a lot of stuff come out. He claims that he doesn't claim his older children. The only children that he claims are the children that he has with his current wife. He says that the children that he had with his first wife, he doesn't claim them anymore. They're not his children because they have been poisoned against him. So therefore, he no longer claims them as his children, which is crazy, but that's just what it is. So let's get into the party. So we have Brian McKnight. He's an individual and a resident of the state of Georgia. We have defendant Jacquelyn Wright. She's an individual, and upon information and belief, she resides in Texas, Nevada, and California. She is a neo-soul singer and songwriter and content creator, because Jaguar Wright does have a YouTube page. Jurisdiction is proper pursuant for 28 USC 1332 for diversity of citizenship, as parties to this action are citizens of different states. The amount in controversy exceeds $75,000. So he's not asking for anything less than $75,000. The venue, the court jurisdiction over this action under 28 USC, in that all a substantial part of the events or omission given rise to the claim occurred in this district. Let me go back up, because where did Brian McKnight said he stayed in Georgia? Okay, she's not in Georgia. Okay. Here are the statements of fact. The first one is that Miss Wright verbally stated in various video recordings that were published to various social media platforms that Mr. McKnight was physically abusive to Miss McKnight and others. Uh, Mr. McKnight's career began when he signed his first record deal with Wing Records and debuted his first album, Brian McKnight, in 1992. Throughout the decades, Mr. McKnight has recorded 17 studio albums, appeared in approximately 8 films, and numerous television shows. Mr. McKnight has numerous hit songs to include, but are not limited to, Love Is, One Last Cry, You Should Be Mine, and Back at One, because I did love that song. Back at One. Mr. McKnight's work has been nominated numerous times throughout the decades and has landed him an award with the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Male Artist after releasing Back at One, and an award with the Soul Train Music Awards for Best R&B Male Album for his album Anytime. Miss Julie McKnight is a singer and individual who knew and dated Mr. McWright during their youth. Mr. McKnight was married to Miss McKnight for 13 years from 1990 to 2003. During their marriage, 2 children were born, Brian McKnight Jr. and Nico McKnight. During the time Mr. McKnight knew, dated, and then was married to Miss McKnight, never did Mr. McKnight meet, encounter, or become aware of Miss Wright and her kinship with Miss McKnight. Upon belief and information, at some point after Mr. McKnight and Miss McKnight separated, Miss McKnight shared numerous false and defaming statements with Miss Wright, who had chosen specific time periods from 2022 through 2024. Let's see what's going on over here. So if you're watching me on TikTok, I'm going over the Brian McKnight lawsuit against Jaguar Wright. If you want to see the documents at hand, you can definitely come to my YouTube page, which is Pam Entertainment TV. Thank you so much for joining me, because this is the first time I've ever gone live on TikTok. But let's continue. Upon belief and information, at some point after Mr. McKnight and Miss McKnight separated, Miss McKnight shared numerous false and defaming statements with Miss Wright, who chose in specific time periods from 2022 through 2024 to spread false and defaming information. On or about December 25th, 2022, Ms. Wright accessed her Instagram account to produce a live video stream to state false and defaming statements about Mr. McKnight. Ms. Wright began her live video by informing those watching the live video and those who would later view the video of the music she was listening to, and then made the statement, "It's Christmas, and I'm giving honesty and truth and gift, as a gift this year." Ms. Wright also stated in her live video that there's another asshole I need to say Merry Christmas to. Ms. Wright stated that she came to this conclusion after coming across a video on YouTube that was discussing Master P and Brian McKnight and exposing their ungrateful children. To which, after she discussed Master P, she began discussing Mr. McKnight. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, there was issues between the children having issues with their father. I think Master P was having issues with I don't know if she was his wife then or his ex-wife. And then the children, you know how children are. How children feel about their mother and how they feel about their father. And I think there was some disparaging words going back and forth. I think the son, Master P's son, had issues with the mother, or he had issues with Master P. But it was a lot of things, because if I recall, allegedly, I think that Master P's wife or ex-wife had an issue with substance abuse. And I think during this time, Brian McKnight, this is when Brian McKnight had made the declaration that he no longer considered his older children, or that they're his children anymore. He doesn't fool with them or anything like that. So that is if I'm not mistaken, that is the whole gist of the atmosphere in which he started making these revelations, according to this lawsuit filed by Brian McKnight. Ms. Wright immediately stated her relationship to Mr. McKnight. He says that, quote, "His ex-wife is my cousin, Julie McKnight Johnson, now Julie Johnson. followed by the statement that Miss McKnight was the mother of Mr. McKnight's first children, and then proceeded to defame and ridicule him as a father. She is the mother of his oldest children, his first children. He was a piece of shit father, and he was even a worse husband. As the live video continued, Miss Wright claimed, quote, to know things about Brian that most people don't know. And that is a way she gets in all the time. She always comes out and says, well, I know something that people don't know. And if you would know all the things that I know, if you know all the things that I've seen or been through or any of these types of things. Anyway, that's how she starts her stuff off. But failed to acknowledge that she, in fact, did not know Mr. McKnight. Miss Wright continued the false statements in her live stream by stating, there was a pro in Philly, and I've spoken about her before. Her name, well, she danced by the name Paris. She was dancing at Delilah's down Spring Garden and Delaware Avenue at the same time that Amber Rose was when she met Kanye West. Brian was one of my girlfriends from high school's clients, but see, the things that most people don't. Goodness, sorry about that. Ms. Wright continued the false statements in her live stream by stating, where was I? Brian was one of my girlfriends from high school's clients, but see, the thing that most people don't know is that nigga got a real sick fetish because he used to pay her extra so that he could choke her out and punch her in her eye. And then he would just sit there and have sex with her and beat her and have sex with her and beat her. Sometimes I would go and pick her up after the calls, and I'd forget the one time I came to pick her up after she had been with Brian, and it was just nuts. Her eye was all black, lips sitting out. He loosened her tooth. So what I'm going to do, if you all will join me from TikTok over here on YouTube, I'll appreciate it. I'm getting ready to log off of TikTok. Y'all have a good day. All right. Y'all, I went live on TikTok. I never did that before. But anyway, let's continue. Now she's talking some serious stuff. And see, this is the stuff I'm talking about. She knows a lot of interesting stuff. She knows a lot of people. She knows a lot of interesting stuff. Hey there, Bucksots. She knows a lot of stuff for her not to have been so involved. But let's continue. Because so basically he's saying that she's explaining to people in this live that he was into choke play. You know, I heard another content creator say, I'm learning against my will of these different fetishes these people have that should be private, but you just seem to learn all these little different fetishes that your faves have. And I've always been told never meet your faves because they will disappoint you every time. Every time. All right, y'all. Miss Wright knew or should have known these statements were false, but she chose to state them in her public video. After Miss Wright made the false accusation that Mr. McKnight would physically abuse Miss McKnight and other women, Miss Wright attempted to support her narrative by stating, and I quote, and then we found out later through my friend Yvonne Pearson, who is very, 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 very good friends with my cousin Julie McKnight Johnson, found out that there was abuse going on in the home. Ms. Wright failed to verify if the statements provided by Yvonne Pearson were factual prior to sharing them in her live video. To further her defamatory statements of Mr. McKnight, Ms. Wright mocked one of Mr. McKnight's well-known songs, Back at One. Mr. One, A Nightmare Come True. 2, I Just Want to Beat on You. Fuck Brian McKnight. All right, here's the second statement of fact. Ms. Wright continued the false defamatory statements in an effort to regain a positive image in the public eye. During the time span of 2022 through 2024, Ms. Wright experienced not only public backlash for her allegations against other prominent individuals within the music industry, but also found herself in legal cases by these individuals. In an effort to continue her narrative and regain the attention of the public for her podcast, on or around May 1st, 2024, Ms. Wright released a video on YouTube that further defamed Mr. McKnight, as well as brought her false narrative back to the public's attention. During the video, Ms. Wright continued to make the same false and defaming statements regarding Mr. McKnight, and that she had previously made her Instagram live video on December 25th, 2022. She reworded the song. That's not how that song goes, but she just kind of reworded it in a way, in an effort to kind of mock him. It's a Back at One is a great song. It is it's a good song by Brian McKnight, but Jaguar was being funny. Let's see. During the video, in the video, Miss Wright begun by discussing the R by Ike and Tina Turner, and then immediately compared it to Mr. McKnight's hit song Back at One. Miss Wright made the notation that Mr. McKnight's hit song was not inspired by such an admiring and loving event that the public believes inspired him, but it was inspired by the complete opposite. Or Brian McKnight going into the studio and recording one. It's like a dream come true, and all of what a wonderful, great song. But if you knew about the prostitute he had beaten up that my cousin caught him with just before that, and how he beat her up for catching him with that chick, and that's where the song came from. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. Let's look up Back at One. Because Jaguar out here. All right. Oh, genius. All right. So the first verse, let me get y'all to see this tab. So this is from genius.com. It says here, it's undeniable that we should be together. It's unbelievable how I used to say that I'd fall never. The basis is need to know. If you don't know just how I feel, then let me show you now that I'm for real. If all the things in time will reveal. And then the chorus is: 1, you're like a dream come true. 2, just want to be with you. 3, girl, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me. I'm trying so hard not to sing it. And 4, repeat steps 1 through 3. 5, make you fall in love with me. If I ever believe my work is done, then I start back at 1. And so according to what he's saying in this lawsuit, he's saying that Jaguar is saying that this song was written in a sense that for him, for his choke fetish, according to Jaguar Wright. I'm going through these lyrics kind of slow. I don't see anything that because you know how some artists put just a little clue of something in here. I don't see anything. Let's see verse 2. It's so incredible the way things work themselves out, and all emotional once you know what it's all about. Babe, and undesirable for us to be apart. Never would have made it far because you know you've got the keys to my heart. Okay, so I don't see any riddles or anything in this song. So let's get back to the lawsuit. It's still a beautiful song. I don't see anything in here. Damn, this was my cousin's wedding song, but I don't see how it goes with what she's talking about. I don't either. Other than she's saying that he wrote the song close to the time that he has done whatever this act that she accuses him of. Now, I will tell you, I've not seen that Instagram live from Jaguar Wright, so I am unsure about what she said, when she said, or how she said it. But apparently she has said something in there. He's quoting, so he must have a copy of that live. After Miss Wright made this statement, she realized she had caught the attention of fellow individuals in the live scene, which was exactly Miss Wright's intention. After Miss Wright noticed that the individuals were now more interested in what she had to say, Miss Wright took the opportunity to turn Miss McKnight into a victim and hero. Quote, "You know what she did instead? She started advocating for all of his victims. Imagine that you standing in the gap for and getting help for and protecting the women that your husband is cheating on you with." Additionally, Ms. Wright furthered her false narrative that Mr. McKnight was abusive when she made the false statement. Approximately 10 days later, on or around May 11th, 2024, Ms. Wright participated in an Instagram live stream video with Mr. Javon Pearson and two other individuals. Ms. Wright took the opportunity to again state her kinship with Ms. McKnight. "Julie McKnight Johnson is my cousin. She is my family, and I give a damn about what happens to her." Ms. Wright made the statements in an effort to gain the attention of viewers and to inform viewers that she held a relationship with Mr. McKnight, one that she knew or should have known was not real. Immediately following Ms. Wright's statement that she is Ms. McKnight's cousin, Ms. Wright changed her vocal tone to one of disgust and stated, "Everything that nigga Mr. McKnight put her through." In doing so, Miss Wright had made the effort to keep the attention of the viewers while insinuating through her tone that Mr. McKnight had acted in an unacceptable manner toward Miss McKnight. Again, Miss Wright took the opportunity to turn Miss McKnight into a victim. And this is interesting wordplay here. Miss Wright took the opportunity to turn Miss McKnight into a victim. It's interesting wordplay to me because I would think that he would say something about that she took every effort to defame him by stating the following. But this is interesting that he uses the phrasing, she took the opportunity to turn her into a victim and hero, while running her narrative that Mr. McKnight was an abusive husband. Okay. Maybe this is just the way the lawyer is going to work this out. Okay. And y'all, I'm getting so gun shy with reading some of this stuff because I had to read that amended filing from Michelle up in New York, and she went from first person to third person, back and forth in there, and it was so difficult to read and figure out who she was talking about when. Not disparaging what she's going through, but that lawsuit was very difficult to read through. So I'm always gun shy when I'm going through all of these different things. But I did want my vocabulary. I'm not gonna hold y'all. My vocabulary increased reading that lawsuit. Here we go. And this is the quote. "You know, it takes a strong woman to be able to get past your husband's cheating on you, but it's a whole nother kind of animal when you go and save the woman that your husband cheated on you with from that husband. Imagine that you're sitting there looking at the woman who had sex with your husband, and you're more concerned about her well-being than your feelings." Excuse me. At this point in the video, Mr. Pearson spoke up about Miss McKnight's ability to handle the situation, a situation that had been fabricated by Miss McKnight, Mr. Pearson, and Miss Wright to defame Mr. McKnight. Quote, "Julie has always been a queen throughout this whole situation," to which Miss Wright adds, quote, "She's been regal. Listen to me. If she had told the family what he was doing, one, it's like a nightmare come true. Two, we don't want to fuck with you. Three, and it's so plain to see that you're the biggest piece of shit, you asshole. Not Jaguar remixing the song. It is evident at this point in the video that Miss Wright had gained the attention she sought and enjoyed, defaming Mr. McKnight by spreading the false statements. Before Miss Wright moved on to discuss and defame other individuals, Miss Wright again made the effort to spread her false narrative of how Mr. McKnight was inspired for his Back at One record. Quote, how he came up with that record, because it didn't start with love, it started with abuse. Don't let those long songs fool you. Brian McKnight used to mess with a girl who was a professional, who me and her go back to junior high. He used to pay her extra so he could rough her up. For whatever reason, he couldn't rock it off unless she had a black eye. That's who you are, Brian. And now I could actually see her in the looking in the camera. That's who you are, Brian. If you saw that Piers Morgan interview, you know, she did a lot of that. The third statement is that Mr. McKnight's reputation and career suffer as a result of Miss Wright's false and defamatory statements. Now, Brian. Now, the mess that she said up at the beginning that you stated that she says, that's one thing, but I don't think that that's what caused your career to go into a tailspin. Please, because we're not going to forget or not remember that you came on here and made some statements yourself that caused some issues and problems and concerns for your career. But we're going to continue. As a result, Miss Wright's false statements that Mr. Wright was abusive to Miss McKnight, the woman, and was a terrible husband and father, Mr. Knight's reputation and career sustained immense damage. As a singer-songwriter herself, Miss Wright was well aware of the negative effects that these false and defamatory statements would have on Mr. McKnight's career. Mr. McKnight has endured issues securing venues for concerts to be canceled, and petitions for tickets not to be sold through vendors. Come on, Brian. That wasn't Jaguar. Now, if I'm remembering, allegedly, there was some statements that you were making in regards to your children, your grown children, and some statements that you made in regards to your daughter, if I can remember correctly. And you were doing tickets and people were like, no, we're not messing with you, Brian. Because I remember several little TikToks. I remember several little posts and things like that on Instagram about how people were not messing with you because you had made some statements, and then you were praising your stepchildren as if they were your only children. I don't think that these allegations, although they are heinous, but I don't think that that was because of what she said. Yes, exactly. That happened because of how he was treating his kids. It didn't. I don't like the fact that you know that from what you're saying in this thing above this thing that Jaguar was saying anything else, but I don't think those venues and those concert tickets, because as I recall, it was because you were saying some statements in regards to your biological children and praising your other children, and the optics weren't looking good. So you were throwing away it. The optics were, when I remember them, as I remember them, is that you were throwing away your black children, and you would so that you can grab a hold to your because I think the lady is from she's Hispanic, she's from Mexico, or one of those Latin countries or whatever. I was trying to find the Hispanic, Latin, and you were praising those children and buying those children things, and that's fine. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do that. You're married to their mother, and then you all had lost. I think you all had lost a baby, and then you had another baby. And I'm not telling you that, but I'm just saying you were praising these children and disregarding these other children, and the optics didn't look good. And then the people who you were doing concert, you were an R&B singer. You're an R&B singer. You didn't cross over to pop. So you're not going to have the other audience. You were pulling money so basically you're pulling money from Black folks, and you're disparaging the Black kids, but hyping up the non-Black kids. And plus your whole audience is Black women. We're not going to rock with that. I can definitely see where you have a point here, but that ain't all Jaguar's fault. Let's continue. For years, Mr. McKnight has had to endure the false and defaming allegations set out by Ms. Wright while Mr. McKnight was trying to continue his career. Ms. Wright was pushing a false narrative about him in order to further her career. That's all right. So here we go. So we've got count one. So these were the statements of fact that we just read. So now we're his first count of defamation. Plaintiff repeats and realleges each of the foregoing paragraphs are set forth fully. So basically, everything that we just read, he repeats it again for this charge. He said, Ms. Wright published a video on YouTube on May 1st, 2024. The video, which is still fully accessible, is available to a worldwide audience as the YouTube account is not a private account. The video contains false and defamatory statements against Mr. McKnight. Quote, or Brian McKnight going into the studio and recording one, it's like a dream come true, what a wonderful, great song. But if anybody knew about the prostitute he had beaten up that my cousin caught him with just before that, and how he beat her up for catching him with that chick, and that's where that song came from. Oh, Lord, you're going to make me. And this is just for, let's see. Interesting. She responded to Shannon Sharp's lawsuit, but she didn't respond to her own. All right. So she did was it a video? So I'm going to her website to look at the videos. I don't see. Maybe it was a live. He said it was a live. Oh, Lord. She has a host of videos. So we're talking about a year ago. That thing doesn't go back a year ago. She may have removed it, y'all. So what I'm doing is going back through her website. I mean her yeah. All her videos go back to 7 months. Yeah, so she looks like she has removed those videos because her videos don't go past 7 months ago. So let's continue. B, you know what she did? Instead, she started advocating for all of his victims. Imagine that you're standing in the gap. So he is just having to repeat the stuff that he stated earlier. So we're not going to reread all of this stuff because it looks like the same thing. He's just put it in the counts. He has a second defamation count from that same YouTube video. He's claiming in count 2 that she published false and defamatory statements, that Julie McKnight Johnson is her cousin. Everything that nigga Mr. Knight put her through. You know, it takes a strong woman to get past her husband cheating. She's been regal, so he's just going back over the same thing, but he's got a second account for defamation statements from that same video. He is demanding a jury trial. So he has 2 counts against her. He wants them to award him compensatory damages of not less than $75,000. He wants punitive damages awarded, and he wants all of his expenses and costs paid for by Jaguar Wright. He did this on the 28th day of April. And so he has 2 counts, it looks like. And we've read basically the statements of facts in those different things. So, child. I'm sorry. He's going to sue. He's got every right to sue, but I don't know. I think he's trying to get blood from a turnip. He is trying to get blood from a turnip, and I don't think Jaguar has the funds or the monies to be able to pay him for anything that she said defamatory. Not to say that he doesn't have a right to do so. He has every right to sue her if she said some things that were defamatory. However, that's like getting blood from a turnip. I don't know what he get other than if I was to think about what he was doing, he's really trying to get her to hush. Now, he's already was able to get her to remove those videos from her YouTube page because, like I said, and just so that you all can see that, let me go here. So this is her YouTube page. And these are her videos. And if we scroll down to her last video, it was 7 months ago. Right? So then let's go to her live. Now, I know she did videos more than 7 months ago because when this stuff about Diddy came out, she had videos in regards to that. And even prior. And so here we have stream 7 months ago. So whatever she had prior to 7 months ago, she is taken off. Because I know that there were some rumblings in the zeitgeist that Jay-Z and all these people might sue her for defamation and everything like that. Whoo! Hey, Mr. YouTube, child, Brian McKnight is suing Jaguar Wright for defamation for a live stream that she did on Instagram and a live stream that she did on YouTube, stating that he was abusive to one of her friends who was a prostitute, and he was abusive to his wife. And she made statements according to him. He said, I guess he's saying that he didn't abuse anybody and that she's lying on him, and he's suing her. And I'll let you see this because he wants to say that because of her statements, he wasn't able to sell any tickets. And me and Buck Thoughts was over here talking about, no, that ain't the truth. You were hyping up your stepchildren and throwing away your black children, and that was the optics. Now your audience is black women, black men, and the optics didn't look right, because we all remember that. We all remember the Instagram things, and then you were supposed to be doing some Instagram lives or YouTubes. I can't remember what it was, about how, how your current wife, your current wife and your family is what makes you be a man. It was some mess that he was talking about. But like I said, he has every right to file this thing if he believes that some of the statements that Jaguar Wright has been defamatory, because we know that Jaguar Wright says a lot of stuff. She had a crawl up her tail about Jay-Z. She had one about Diddy. And when all of this stuff was going on, all of a sudden she was the wealth of knowledge and information about insider stuff and everything like that. Now all of a sudden, and as we see, she's pretty much scrapped most of those videos off of her YouTube page. Now, if you go to TikTok, they've got a wealth of information of videos and things like that that she has done. But Brian McKnight, to me, I think he's stretching in regards to the fact that I think his own mouth, he's suing Jaguar Wright. I think that his own mouth is the reason why his concert tickets are not selling and all of that stuff. I don't think it has anything to do with old Jaguar. I don't, because he was having issues and problems and stuff like that. Because you remember, if I'm not mistaken, no, that was Kirk Franklin's son. Because it was during that time that Kirk Franklin was having issues with his son. And then Brian McKnight was having issues with his son. Because I remember it happened somewhere during the Met Gala, because the Met Gala is in May. And I remember seeing a lot of different things. And I do remember him coming on about, he's a better father now. He doesn't want to claim that family over there, with his first wife. He don't claim them or anything like that, because he's had so many problems and da-da-da-da this and da-da-da-da that. But we never knew what the problems were, because nobody was saying anything. But to stretch it and say that Jaguar Wright is the cause for your ticket sales to go down, no. Yeah, he's had issue with both his son and his daughter, who he never had a relationship with. I knew it was something. I knew he had, but you know what? Let me get back to this lawsuit, because he y'all, do we remember when he was talking about the kids? He didn't even claim a second son. Hold on. Yeah. He said during the marriage, 2 children were born: Brian McKnight Jr. and Nico McKnight. Those are the 2 sons. He's not even claiming the daughter. Let me show y'all. Already he cutting up. Look at this, number 9. During their marriage, 2 children were born: Brian McKnight Jr. and Nico McKnight. He has a daughter. Oh, I was fixing to say, hey. So the daughter is not the ex-wife. Gotcha. Okay. Because I don't focus on Mr. McKnight, because I was just about to say, now he lying in this little suit. But okay. All right. Yeah, because he was ragging on the daughter itself. Yeah, because I remember, because I think he named the new child that he has is Brian McKnight Jr. as well. Riddle me that. Anyway, y'all. Mm. What do y'all think about this? Because like I said, I don't think we not gonna do I mean Jaguar is talking a cash amount of crap, but I don't think that her tongue had the power of keeping his ticket sales. So look at here, y'all. Because I just typed up, hold on. So I just put in Brian McKnight's new family. And look at here. Because this is when Fox Soul was out. Now, this is April 23rd, 2024. Here's the headline. Brian McKnight says his eldest son came from sin. And then we've got Brian McKnight spites his black children. New family is, let me see if I can just, because I don't want to click it. Because it's a whole lot of stuff. But he married the new, Brian McKnight legally changes his name to exactly match his 9-month-old son. Brian McKnight's new full name is Brian Keanoa Makoa McKnight Sr., matching his 9-month-old son named Brian McKnight, whatever. Brian McKnight says his estranged biological kids are a product of sin. See, these are the things, these are the steps, because I was going to say, there's no way in the world, I think, yeah, and all of this, look at the dates. Look at the dates, May 6th, because I knew it happened around, I remember hearing this around Met Gala time, and I will be covering the Met Gala on Monday. But look at that. That's May 6th. That's a year ago. I don't think that her words, April 24th. What is this? Let's click this. Brian McKnight's ex-wife responds after he calls their children products of sin. The R&B icon sparks outrage as he publicly denounces his black children, branding them as products of sin while favoring his new family, leaving a trail of hurt and confusion in his wake. Recently, Brian, now this is written by Danielle, 22nd, 2024, y'all. Recently, Brian McKnight has been vocal about his relationship with his adult children on social media. He has pretty often said some toxic things about his children from his first marriage with Julie McKnight and previous relationships. And now he's doubling down and calling his black children products of sin and evil. One of McKnight's social media followers commented their support for McKnight being estranged from his first set of kids for years, to which McKnight replied, I want to big up my man right here. He gets it. In order to live a life that you love, you have to get rid of the evil and the negativity, even if that evil and negativity is related to you. McKnight married Leilani Mendoza in 2017, and the two welcomed a son together in 2023, and they named him what he named, and he changed his legal name. Says McKnight, this is what I remember. Mr. McKnight claimed that he and his new family want to use their platform for positivity, and he wants to stray away from negativity, which includes his black children. Other social users ask about how his one and only daughter, Julia, feels when he doesn't claim his biological daughter, Brianna. Julia is Leilani's daughter from a previous relationship. McKnight responds, she feels great. See, Julia understands the scripture, Exodus 20:12, where it says, and I quote, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days be long. Child. And then she responds here. I'm not going to go over and read it, but I'll hover over it for a little while so that you all can see it. What's even crazier is his stepdaughter went to the same college as his actual daughter, but he ignored her. Yet his ex-wife has more of a relationship with the daughter. So anyway, let me get out of here. Let me you know what else I remember too? Because I also remember there was some kind of brouhaha because he brought the stepdaughter a car and was not even paying attention to the other girl. It was a whole lot of. And like I said, I don't understand any of this. It has to be studied. And it has to be, and not only does it have to be studied, it has to be reconciled, because there just seems to be a subsection of Black men that seem to act like their Blackness. I don't have the words to be able to state it, so I won't say what I want to say, because I don't have the proper words to say it. And you know how some people get confused, or they deign confusion. They act like you're talking about all Black men, but you're talking about a subsection of them. That this is disconcerting. This is all disconcerting. But anyway, we are rounding out like a smooth hour here. But anyway, all this to say is, Brian McKnight has a lawsuit against Jaguar Wright. I don't know if he can successfully claim that his ticket sales, because I remember during that time when he was talking about his children like that, he had a concert in New York or Georgia. But they were getting refunds on their tickets. They knew, the people was like, I'm not fixing to pay for this. I can't in good conscience sit back and know that my money is going towards Brian McKnight, who is talking about his children the way he's talking about, but I'm supporting him. So no, I don't think your ticket sales dwindled because of Jaguar Wright. I think they dwindled because of Brian McKnight. So we will see. But again, I think this lawsuit was basically for him trying to get her to keep his name out of her mouth. And what will do that other than a lawsuit? And I do see, again, we looked over that and we went through it, where her YouTube page, the latest video, the oldest video on there was 7 months ago, but she's had that YouTube page over a year, because she was covering a lot of that Diddy stuff when she was covering that Diddy stuff a little bit after Cassie dropped her lawsuit. I remember there was a couple of videos or something like that. But you can go on TikTok, because I know that she had done some videos, and then she was a guest on other podcasts. So those videos are over on TikTok if you want to look at those as well. All right, people. Thank you all so much. And thank you so, Mr. YouTube 92 and Buck's Thoughts, because y'all had some information. So again, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. Again, Brian McKnight is suing Jaguar Wright for up to anything over $75,000 for defamation, for her getting on one of her YouTube, going on IG Live and also going on YouTube Live and spreading some defaming comments and statements toward him. So we'll see how he comes out on that. My personal opinion, again, this is the opinions of Pam Entertainment TV. I don't know these folks. I have never met any of these folks. These are not statements of facts. These are just my opinions. Y'all, he's going to have to contend with his own statements. I think he's going to have to contend with his own statements because, again, it's optics and his audience. His audience heard him talking about his children, and the majority of his audience visually look like his children. They're Black. So, no, I think the optics of what he was trying to do has messed him up. But anyway. And as always, people, bye-bye. Child, Jaguar Wright is a fool and is foolish. They ain't gonna call her a fool, but she acts foolish. Brian McKnight he's acting dense like he don't understand, in my opinion. Child, this is a mess.